Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are here live with Co-working Live with Red Worldwide, and we're excited that you're here with us today. And so today we're going to be talking about the psychology of human behavior, or I should say consumer behavior, um, based on the fact that most of us are doing business in a way where people are consuming our services and our products. We need to really be aware of what consumers are thinking, how they're thinking, how do we incorporate that information to really gain access to what we need to know so we can better serve them and better sell to them and also make sure that our businesses are successful. So with that said, we're going to jump right in. Javon, can you roll my slides, please? And while I'm having her pull the slides up, let me just remind you, I'm Patience Rose, Dr. Patience Jackson Rose, and I am the CEO and founder of Red Worldwide. We are a nonprofit organization that is an educational support services company for business owners, individuals, families, people who are aspiring to be in business. We deal with inventors and product creators, creatives. We actually have a wide array or a vast community of people and types and services that we are able to provide services to. And so it's very exciting to be able to participate in a lot of the things that we do to serve our clients. But with that said, we want to just jump in here today. Javon, you can roll the slides, please. Okay. The whole concept of what we're doing really is being done to help you get an analysis of customer decisions so you can learn how to do business better. And so let's go to our next slide. It's important that you do understand the conscious mind of your customer or your client, generally will influence, how you deal with purchases and what it is that you want them to be able to take advantage of the services that you do have available. But it also influences the services that you're going to offer because it's important for you to be able to understand how they think. We did some empathy maps the last week, and we kind of, dived into, how our customers feel, but we also want to be, thinking about their mindset, not just how they feel, but, how are they wired? That's really important. And so we're going to look at that today. We're going to talk about what consumer behavior is and the major psychological factors that go along with that, the social and cultural influences of the consumer, and, then how do we look at the consumer decision-making process, what that entails. How do we apply consumer psychology in our business, and what are some ethical considerations and the effective marketing strategies, within the guise of, your actual use case. Okay. And so we'll have some case studies and we'll talk about a few things, that can help you to really look at your avatar or your ideal customer and see exactly what you can do there. And then what are the practical steps for the business owner to make sure that they are staying, kind of fluid, with these things that are happening with the business owners. I'm sorry, with the consumers that you're doing business with. Okay, and then we'll have a moment for some questions and answers because I think it's important for us to really, answer any questions that you might have with regards to this, and see how we can, help you um, uh, really dive in, to making sure that you do use the consumer psychology to inform your business operations and everything that you do there. Next slide, please. Okay, so when we're talking about consumer decisions, we really want to know why we're doing this. Why do we even have to have this conversation? Well, understanding consumer behavior is essential for business as it evolves. It involves the analysis of consumer decisions, including what drives their purchases, the timing of those purchases, and the usage of whatever it is that they're purchasing. I know, sometimes you don't think about this, but there are people that buy things all the time and, put it up somewhere and never use it. So, we need to be paying attention to, how this really affects us and our businesses and what it means, when people are actually using the product, what they say about the product, how do they respond to it? Do they tweet about it? Do they, grab up other people and tell them, hey, you need to go buy this. I bought it and it worked for me. How does that really affect you? And then the resource allocation with regards to consumer behavior is really important as well because consumers allocate their resources, such as their time, their money, based on preference, needs, desires, which really influences their patterns for the consumption of your goods. So you got to be paying attention to their resource allocation, and how it affects your business. Okay. And then we want to kind of study and analyze consumer behavior, to see trends and preferences and behaviors that so that we can tailor products and services effectively to meet their consumer demands. Next slide, please. Okay, so what is consumer behavior? What is this, all about? Well, the psychology, the psychology behind how people purchase is something that has been long studied. And so when we are looking at this concept of consumer behavior, we have to understand that, their behavior is influenced by psychological factors like motivation and perception and learning and attitudes, which drive their purchasing decisions and consumption patterns. People do have some opinions. Okay, that's what I'll say. They have opinions about things, and those opinions will cause them to purchase or not purchase. And we have to be able to understand how those opinions have been derived, where they came from, along with, the perception of certain types of goods and services. You know, it does also weigh in on the opinions. Okay, um, and then as they learn better or learn differently, they might change their attitudes about what it is that they're doing and buying. And that also could very much affect their consumption of your goods and services. So we need to understand that psychological influences are very important. This is not something to be ignored because depending on the type of business you have, it could be very well affected if there's some mass hysteria or scare because of something that happens in the mainstream media. Then what happens is that information flows down, it gets into social, and then from there people start making some crucial decisions. So we've got to play this out and understand that there is motivation and decision making that goes along, with the purchase. And for that reason, people don't just arbitrarily purchase things. I mean, yes, there are some impulse items that might be sitting at the end cap of, an aisle. And so they might grab something just because of the fact that of where it's placed and positioned there. They are reminding themselves, oh yeah, I did need toothpaste or whatever the deal is. But at the end of the day, for the most part, people's decisions to purchase your goods and your services are driven, okay, and they're driven by some factors. And so we want to look at what those factors could be so that we can, again, tailor things to their needs and requirements and better, accumulate customers based on those informed decisions that we make. Now, consumers interpret information through perceptual filters, and that those filters shape their understanding with decision-making processes. It influences their interactions and their and whether or not they're going to purchase your product or your service. Let's go to the next slide, please. So, what are the major psychological factors? I was going to say physiological factors because there are some physiological factors, and we're going to handle those on a different day. But today, we're going to look at what the major psychological factors are and how do they affect your client. Well, motivation and needs. Consumer motivation and needs drive behavior. Okay, and these influencing decisions, help them decide what are they going to buy, you know, um, how much are they going to spend, when are they going to buy, and it makes it essential for businesses to understand these aspects. I'll give you an example. I we have a few different companies, but one of the companies that I seem to spearhead right now, it has to do with the sales of different types of services to people who are in business. And those sales are really um, motivated, by what time of year it is. Okay. And so, give you an example, that particular business does, provide tax advisory services and tax preparation. And when people are getting close to tax time, then it seems to have there seems to be a motivation or inspiration or a level of urgency that goes into the decisions that they make because of where they are in the timetable. Okay. And then, of course, as we're looking at how things are done, sometimes, we see that people make informed decisions based on what they're experiencing, okay, in their life, at that time. Give you an example, as it gets closer to the end of the year and people are thinking about, oh, wow, I didn't get enough tax write offs, or I may not be in a position where, I'm going to not have to pay, an enormous amount of tax. I need to do something. And so those particular kinds of thoughts drive their behavior to purchase said services. Okay. So, I don't know what your business is, but you can probably sit and think about some different times in the year when, people might be influenced to buy from you, or maybe it's near Mother's Day and you're in the business of selling flowers, okay? And of course, we know that from some of the businesses that have been Red members or even other business owners that have coached or counseled or consulted with, or for that matter, advised in the past, um, they seem to have a tremendous influx of sales in and around certain days. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, okay, Father's Day, so the ability for you to really see what is motivating your customer or your client, can be very easy based on, you just paying attention to the data. Okay, so let's look at another factor here, perception and interpretation. Consumers perceive and interpret information differently based on their experiences, beliefs, and values, impacting how they perceive products, brands, and marketing messages. So we've got to know, you know, that when we are looking at our clients and customers, we want to make sure that the information that we're putting out is being interpreted in a way that we intended, right? Because on their end, they have different kinds of experiences and things that are going on that may have unintended consequences on how they receive the information. So we have to do everything within our power to control the narrative. And when we're able to control our narrative, then we can, most often understand, the concept of making sure that our brand awareness is where it needs to be, and that the messages that we're sending out, on the packaging, or for that matter, in the emails or in our ads, does really give the customer what it is that we want them to have. Okay, what about learning and behavior? Well, consumer learning processes influence purchasing decisions as well. And sometimes our consumers may not be able to really push forth their uh, their loyalty to our brands because their ability to retain the information is severely impacted. Maybe we've got too many words on the package. Maybe when our ad goes out, the real offer is not pushed forth in a way that they really can grasp what it is that we want them to buy. And so we have to mirror our client or our customer and their buying patterns, so we can kind of, again, go back to that empathy map and, getting an understanding of how our customer feels and, what it is that they're thinking, so that we can understand, their attitudes and their behaviors towards our product and our services, and how our competitors might be able to win out over us based on the packaging or other things. So if we really do have the competitive edge and we really are offering the better service, then we really need to make sure that we're pushing it out in a better way, so that we don't lose customers because of the fact that we did not, give them the visuals that they needed to have the understanding of what our product or services is all about. Next slide, please. Okay, so social and cultural influences. This is huge because we want to make sure um, that we are really paying attention to the fact that there is a social dynamic, a family dynamic. There is a cultural norm, and we've got to understand what those things are so that, again, as we're putting these products and services out there to our target audience, we're doing it in a way that factors these things, in, to the equation. So the family plays a crucial role in shaping consumer behavior. And let me just tell you, some of the things that I buy right now, I buy because my mama bought them. Okay. And how many people think that way? They will purchase a product and they'll have maybe their children use it, or their friends, or their, cousin or their sister, and then say, okay, what did you think? Do you think we should continue using this or should we get something else? I have done it. Let me tell you, when Lume deodorant came out, Lume, okay, I'm giving them the plug, all right? And they had all of these different products that was the design of the product was to remove odor, period. And so they have a body wash that's an acidifying body wash that actually removes odor better than soap. And that's their brand, their mantra for this particular product. And I was like, I don't know, let me see. So I went and watched the YouTube videos. I went and checked out the social media. I did all of that. And then, of course, then I went to their website to see what they were saying about their product. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I'll try it. And they had this trial where you could buy, just a small packet of several different products that they had. And so I tried out their soap. I tried out their body wash. I tried out their deodorant. I tried out their cream and the actual stick deodorant. I tried out all of these products because the marketing was so compelling that I wanted to see. They even have wipes, and I tried the wipes because I wanted to see if there was any merit in what they were saying about their product and what these influencers were saying about their product. So the family dynamic was definitely there because I not only did I try it, but I got my daughters, some of them to weigh in. Hey, try this stuff and tell me what you think. And then of course the social class influence. I mean, because basically, yes, I did, try to see what other executives or people who were in specific positions in their companies like me, which ones of them were also using this product. It was crazy, because I really wanted to get their opinion. I even had my husband try the product because I wanted to see what he thought. And basically, it was all up. Everything was a win-win-win for that company because they got our business. But, at the end of the day, we do that with a lot of things. People do that with our things that we're selling, our services and our products. I can't tell you how many times I've served one family providing one service, and then all of a sudden I look up and I get a message and a text message, a group text. Hey, this is my sister. I really loved what you did for me. Can you please help her with the same thing? Okay, or she's looking for this other service, but we thought that since you did this for us, you could probably provide this for her because we see that you offer that particular service as well. So it really is important for you to understand that family dynamics and social class, they have weight when people are making a decision about whether they should purchase your service or not. But then there are the cultural norms, the societal beliefs and their values and behaviors. They really do guide the decision of the consumer. Because if, let's just say, you're selling Kool-Aid and it has real sugar in it, and the societal norms have kind of, moved into the direction of using monk fruit or stevia or some of these other sweeteners that don't, have any effect or a very low effect on their glycemic index. It doesn't, make you tired. It doesn't cause any problems for you if you have some kind of issue with your pancreas or you have diabetes or anything like that. And so based on that, people will decide, can't buy your drink because it's made with sugar. But you come out with one that's made with stevia, now you're playing to different levels of cultural norms within the same community of people who like Kool-Aid. So I'm just saying that, you want to be paying attention to the societal and, cultural influences and how it weighs in on your particular product or service. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Consumer decision making process. Okay, so when we're looking now at this process, we want to break the process down, and we have five different areas that we're going to approach this from. The problem recognition. Consumers recognize a need or a problem that triggers their decision to purchase said product. Okay, businesses can influence this stage by targeting their marketing that highlights the solutions to the common problem. So, when you're pushing your product out there, you're pushing your product out there as a solution for a particular problem that people might have. All right, information search. Once they know what their problem is, they go on the search, the hunt to get the solution to their problem. And so you can provide valuable content and resources to assist them in this stage and showcase your products and services in different places, whether it's on Google or Instagram or Facebook or wherever your customers are going to find the solution for the problem that they have. Then evaluation of alternatives. Consumers evaluate different options available to them based on criteria like price or quality or features. So you as a business owner can differentiate your product, your offering to stand out during this comparison phase so that you get that market share. You want to highlight your unique selling points so people can see why your product or your service is better. And then purchase decision. Consumers make the final decision to purchase on a specific product or service. And we want to make sure that when they're making that decision, you have some sort of persuasive tactic like limited time offers, limited seating, or for that matter, you know, only available today or for the next 10 days. Offer discounts to encourage the behavior, to swing in your direction. Okay. So you can have a conversion at that purchase decision stage. And then post purchase behavior. This is something that I tell you people are sleeping on. What happens after the purchase? Well, after making a purchase, consumers evaluate their satisfaction of the product or service, but they also, you know, they're looking for, feedback, or they're looking for manuals, they're looking for upsells, they're looking for money sunk consumption opportunities. What else can I buy with this thing? So you can enhance your post purchase experience through follow up communication, loyalty programs, soliciting feedback from them for future improvements, or even providing, hey, you bought this, we also have this available that goes with what you purchased. You might consider getting one, and we're doing a 50% off sale this month. Those kinds of things are really, really important to help influence people in your direction so you can have a customer lifetime value. You want to keep the customer. You don't want to just get them for the first sale. You want to get them and have repeat business over and over and over again. Next slide, please. So, how do you apply consumer psychology in business? Well, another five things that we're going to look at, and let's look at the market segmentation. By segmenting your target audience based on your demographics or behavior or psychographics, you can tailor their marketing, your marketing efforts to the specific group, and improve their relevance to that group and the effectiveness in getting the sale, or for that matter, in keeping their business. Product development, you're acquiring, the insights from psychology of the consumer behavior can, guide you through your product design and features to align with consumer preferences and needs. You can create products that resonate with your target market and fulfill unmet consumer demands. And it really is an important thing for you to be thinking about: how do you continue to iterate on your product or innovate, so that you can make sure that what it is that you're doing is going to consistently meet the demand of the customer. Then pricing strategies. How do you understand their perceptions and of the value in your product? And how do you gain an understanding of what they really are dealing with financially, so that you can have some sensitivity in pricing, you know, and you can set competitive prices, for what it is that you're doing, but make it so that the target audience that you're going for can actually afford to purchase, or make it worth their while to do whatever they need to do to purchase, right? Maybe they don't have to purchase as often, and it might be more costly for them to purchase your product, but if it lasts longer, then why not purchase your product? Because now I might be looking at the fact that I saved money by purchasing your product, which may have 60 of them in the package, and I can use it for 60 days, at the same price that somebody might be selling, that 30 days, worth of their product. So you want to kind of look at your market expectations and see how you can make your pricing strategy work. And then marketing. Effective marketing strategies leverage consumer behavior research to craft compelling messages, choose appropriate channels, and create engaging campaigns that resonate with their target audience and drive conversions. It is so important for you to understand how your marketing is working for you or against you, or for that matter, for you and against your competitor. Okay. And so you've got to be thinking about the campaigns that you're doing, making sure you're not just picking something off Canva and just throwing it out there, but be mindful about what you're picking, and make sure that it is going to the audience that you are targeting. Okay, then the customer experience. You want people to really have a good experience when they do business with you. You want them to be able to walk away and say, hey, that was such a wonderful experience. I got to tell somebody. Let me help get that person some customers. Let me tell you, I had a young lady and tell me, she goes, I don't want to do what you do. I just want to bring customers to you. What is that worth to you? You pay an affiliate fee. And it was funny to me at the time, but because at that time I didn't have an affiliate fee. But I want to tell you, I started thinking very seriously about it because it became something of value to me to understand that I had addressed all her pain points and she was emotionally connected with me. And for that reason, her loyalty to me was to go and get me some customers. And it has been a long-term relationship. So you want to make sure that you are doing whatever you need to do to make the customer's experience special. Make it something that they really enjoy and that can generate a consumer type of relationship with you where they are sending you customers, turn them into a sales team. You heard me say this before. Turn your valued customers into sales teams. Have them sending people your way. Okay, next slide, please. So, what are the ethical considerations? When we're talking about psychology of consumer behavior, sometimes, people are, really thinking about, is it ethical the way that we use psychology to generate, a customer base or to actually play to the, to the weakness of the client so that they can really come to, do business and stay and continue to do business with you? Well, um, you want to use consumer psychology ethically. Okay, you don't want to just do things and weigh in on people's pain points because they have one. You want to be there for them and really care about the customer. And so this goes back to something that we have playing in the background of a lot of our material, that we really value people over profits. We value people over process. We value people, over our projects. We are in the business, yes, of serving people. And so people are going to be at the forefront of every decision that we make. So when you're thinking about using consumer psychology, you and the behavior that you are, addressing when you're providing your services, you want to use it ethically. You want to avoid manipulative tactics. You want to respect their autonomy and their privacy. You want to promote transparency in marketing practices to build trust and long-term relationships with your customers. And then when you're talking about consumer privacy, you want to make sure if you're doing anything that requires that you are taking in PII, personally identifying information, or anything else regarding your customer, that you prioritize their privacy and data protection by implementing secure practices on your website, in your stores, in your offices, obtaining informed consent. You're not leaving documents with their name and social security number on your desk and unattended. I mean, you're putting things away in a locked cabinet, or whether it's a file cabinet or a locked office. You're respecting their preferences and regarding their data collection. If they tell you that they do not want you to use their data in a certain kind of way, you're not doing something different than that behind closed doors, and you're not selling their information. You want to have these controls in place to make sure that you are staying within the guise of what you've told the customer you're going to do with their data. And then for corporate social responsibility, you want to demonstrate social responsibility in your practices, such as sustainable sourcing, community involvement, ethical decision making, and that it all aligns with the consumer's values and fosters a positive brand image that attracts socially conscious consumers, because socially conscious consumers become long-term consumers if you are being socially conscious with how you do what you do every day. Okay, next slide, please. Mm. So we have some case study. Well, um, effective marketing strategies, you want to basically understand consumer behavior insight. So analyzing consumer behavior data and insights can reveal patterns, preferences, and motivators that inform targeted marketing strategies and product positioning for increased engagement and conversions, because it's so important for you to understand how things work. So you need to develop out some way of analyzing the behavior data, whether that is pulling the reports, from certain softwares that you use, or even payment processing systems, so you can kind of see the patterns and the preferences and the motivators, doing some polls and surveys, as we talked about a couple of days ago. Understanding that with the focus group, you might even be able to get more information, because what's going to happen is they're seeing how people are using your products, and it might help them, make some other decisions that, could inform your processes better. Boosting sales and customer loyalty is another, case study. By aligning marketing strategies with consumer behavior insights, businesses can enhance sales performance, retention rates, and customer loyalty through personalized, customized experiences, targeting promotions, and tailored communications. And so here's another way, when you are now able to align your marketing with the insight that you gained from your analyzations, you now are able to, have these enhanced experiences. And so it's so important for you to be thinking about this, from the right, view, so that you can, better, I would say, better gain a footing on what your social and cultural and familial experiences that your customers have, are what that's going to do in helping, to make a better product or service for the customer. That's just one area, but there's so many other areas too, but I just wanted to bring those out right quick. Okay, so last slide, please. So, what are the practical steps? Well, no, no, no. I'm sorry, go back. What are the practical steps? So, thorough market research. Conducting comprehensive market research allows you to identify the trends, the market gaps, the competitive landscape to inform your strategic processes. Go back, please. Audience segmentation. Segmenting the target audience based on demographics, behavior, and psychographics helps you to tailor your messaging, product offerings, and promotes your promotional strategies to different customer segments for a maximum impact, relevant. So, and then tailoring your marketing messages, crafting personalized and targeted messages, that resonate with specific customer segments based on their preferences, their needs, their behaviors. It enhances the engagement level and brand perception and your conversion rates. And then enhancing the customer experience. When you prioritize your customer's experience, optimization through seamless interactions, personalized, customized services, and post purchase support, which we talked about, it fosters customer loyalty, advocacy, and repeat business. It turns your customers into the sales team. And then actionable strategies. Transforming consumer behavior insights into actionable strategies involves setting clear objectives, implementing data driven tactics, measuring performance metrics, and then adapting strategies based on continuous feedback and analysis for ongoing success. Well, we're just about here out of time. Come on, throw those Q&A up there. So we have some questions that people have with regards to this, and how they might, you know, how this might help them with their business. So the first question I've got here is, you know, uh, how do my family dynamics really affect, the family dynamics of my customers really affect what I do and what can I do to get that information about the family dynamics, from my customers. Okay, good question. So, you know, I know that it seems kind of interesting, to talk about the fact that family dynamics have, a huge impact on your customers' purchasing decisions when, now we have that information and we don't really know how we can get the information from those families so that we can see how that weighs in. The whole purpose of that information was not for you to go seeking information from your customers' families, but it was so that you are aware that there are purchase decisions that are made with influencing factors that you cannot weigh in on. You can't influence a family, to do anything if you don't have the information to actually play to that family. So your goal is not to necessarily go after, influencing where they're getting their information from. You just need to have the other influencers in place so that you have you're weighing in as much on their decision as their family is. Okay. All right. Here's another one. You talked about motivation and needs. Well, what does motivation have to do with the need? When someone is trying to purchase what you have and it's really something that their life requires. Okay, so here's the thing. There are a lot of times where people will purchase, a specific thing, and their motivation is just based on the fact that they need that thing. Period. There's no other motivation. I needed alcohol. I went to the store. I saw that alcohol was 97 cents at CVS in a larger container, and it was a CVS brand. So I'm like, okay, it's alcohol, CVS brand, 97 cents. I'm in. Okay. And so there was no other motivating factor on me purchasing alcohol. But what was more of a motivation factor on what kind of alcohol I purchased was the price. So the price did weigh in. But what you need to understand is that people need what they need. And so your job is to have what they need at the best possible value. Sometimes the value will exceed the price point. And so I will pay more for a particular thing if I believe that that thing is going to work better than the other thing that's just like it on the shelf, that costs less because I am one that purchases, I'm a value purchaser. So your value purchasers are going to be looking at whatever they need to see about your product or your service is going to bring value into their life. Okay, let's look at one more of these questions over here. And I think that's as much as we have our time to do today. Um, let's see. Okay, so what are some effective developments and design that I can do to my products or services, to help me win the market share? Okay, and this is a really good question because, a lot of times people talk about, do you have the lion's share of the market? Are you the people that person is going to go to first, for that particular service or that particular product? And that really goes back to how are you serving? Not what are you serving, but how are you serving? When you're serving your client or your customer in a way that lets them know that you care, then yes, it changes how they purchase from you, when they purchase from you, how much they purchase from you. So what you want to be thinking about is, what is it that I can do, okay, to my product that makes it a better value, that makes it something that lasts longer, or that can be something that they will want to purchase over and over and over again because of the way I provide it. Well, this has been Dr. Patience Jackson Rowe. Coming to you live with Red Worldwide's Co-working Live. I hope you have found value in this particular session today. And I really do hope and pray that you take into account the consumer's psychology about purchasing what they purchase from you so that you can put your products and services together in a way that will better provide what a solution to their problem. And we thank you again for watching, and we'll see you again next time.